Right away, we are introduced to Luo Shinsher, who is 18 years old. He is a hikikomori, and this made his mother lose hope in his future, even though he is planning to take entrance exams for university. When he gets home, a major plot twist occurs. In reality, he has girlfriends and doesn't live alone, or at least that's what he thought. Despite having Rem from ReZero, the boy still feels lonely and empty. We learn that due to his strange name, he has become an otaku virgin. Poor guy. Even his name was unlucky. Answering his phone, he is notified that the mail was knocking at the door. Opening the box, he receives a new phone he ordered a few days ago, charges it, and sets it up, which would be the first thing many viewers would do, I'm sure. He falls into a deep sleep and begins to hear people calling his name. Opening his eyes, he finds himself in a dense darkness. Suddenly, an extremely bright light appears, revealing a beautiful blonde woman. Unfortunately for our otaku Shin, his alarm clock rings and wakes him up. Sounds like me dreaming about my crush. Regretting not turning off the alarm the night before, he slaps it to silence it. During the impact of the slap, a magical circle is invoked. Opening his eyes slowly, Shin finds himself facing a peculiar softness. When he looks closer, he comes face to face with a beautiful brunette with green eyes. Like a typical otaku, he is startled to see a woman. He quickly questions her how she entered his home or who she might be. The girl calls him master and asks how she ended up in this form. Taken aback by being called master, he is in a good mood, who wouldn't be? Assuming the girl is a drunk who mistook her own house, Shin tells her to find someone else to play with. As soon as he finishes speaking, the girl bursts into tears, saying that even after being used for so long, the protagonist treats her like a stranger. Believing that because Shin got a new phone, he wants to discard her already. Feeling guilty, the boy asks to be able to explain himself, shouting at the poor girl that she is not known to him and that he has never seen her before. He searches for his phone to call the police, but only finds the newly purchased one. Remembering his previous dream, he feels a palpitation. Putting the pieces together, he realizes that the girl in front of him might be his old phone. Well done, Shin, using your neurons to think. However, he accuses his servant of stealing his phone and demands that she return it immediately. The female phone asks if he wants her to answer or hang up, so he confirms that he demands that she answer and return the phone. The girl fixes her hair, takes a step forward, and jumps on him, kissing him, leaving Shin completely embarrassed and awkward, as he had never felt a kiss from the opposite sex before. He closes his eyes and pushes her away, telling her to have self-control. Shin quickly moves away, and they both feel embarrassed. Using his neurons to think, he realizes that he shouldn't be apologizing because it was she who stole his first kiss. Shin believed that if he remained a virgin until he was 25, he would be able to use magic. Anxious to become a wizard, he decides to remain pure until he's 25, but currently, he claims he doesn't feel like he's lost anything, he just feels blessed. His phone starts repeating messages from his mother. After not getting a response, she sends an audio message, yelling at Shin, curious that his phone is literally a girl who repeats messages. His mother accuses him of being up late online dating and that's why he's so sleepy. The otaku justifies that he was studying and no longer online dating, and asks his matriarch why she called. He receives a shout and ear-pulling for questioning why a mother would call her own son. Taking back what he says she can call whenever she wants. His mother asks him to inquire if the neighbor's house is up for rent. As she is his mother, he can't refuse her request. The human phone confirms that the call has ended, but is interrupted by the protagonist. Shin is certain that his old phone has actually transformed into the girl in front of him. He supposes that this happened because he dreamed of that beautiful blonde girl and wonders what ability he received. If he really got a superpower, again his few otaku neurons, he believes his power is to turn everything he touches into a hottie. Thinking of so many possibilities, he starts to feel strange sensations in his body. Deciding to test if he really is capable of turning objects into hotties, Shin, with the Rem doll in his hands, seconds pass, and nothing happens. Believing he has no ability or that some requirement is necessary, he feels sad. The girl asks if everything is okay with her master, touching his shoulders. Shin asks her to confirm if she really is his phone, asking his servant to say what he had in his files. The girl is embarrassed and claims to have sensual photos of girls and codes for certain types of sites. Shocked, Shin realizes that his phone really became a girl. his phone, asks why these types of files were there and what he intended with those photos, getting nervous about the girl's sudden question, but she quickly gets delighted. Thinking that the boy intended to learn more about women's fashion, he affirms that yes, relieved to convince his phone. The two sit down to talk, but when asked what her name is, the girl says she doesn't have one, but that he should give her one. After thinking about it, and making the girl anxious to discover her name, he decides to call her Yozora because she has beautiful straight black hair. Yozora is extremely happy with the name she received and jumps to hug her master. A noise at the door makes Shin worried. The boy remembers his mother's call, and, having no explanation for the girl to be in his house, he hurries to hide Yozora in his wardrobe. The girl asks if she should be in silent mode, and Shin affirms with certainty that she should. His mother shouts for him to quickly open the door. Taking off the shoes to enter the house, she notices her son's nervousness and asks him why he's panting. Shin claims he was changing because he just woke up. Seizing the opportunity, he asks his matriarch why she came personally after a call. The woman asks why she couldn't visit her own son. The boy's mother claims to smell the perfume of a girl. A woman's sixth sense never fails. Shin tries to justify saying that he changed the scent of his fabric softener and feels relieved for hiding his phone well. When he looks to the floor, the boy realizes that Yozora's shoe was out of the wardrobe. Hidden, he tries to approach the shoe, but his mother looks to where he is. The boy sits to hide the evidence of the crime. The woman perceives that her son is more agitated than normal and has something to do with the wardrobe. Looking at the Rem doll, Shin's mother devises a plan to make him move away from there, throwing the poor doll away. The boy, seeing his doll going to the ground, quickly jumps to catch it, but he doesn't know that it was just a plan of his matriarch. Women scare me, Shin understands too late and feels a bad aura behind him. Looking back, he sees his mother with Yozora's shoes. The boy is questioned if he has a fetish, or he bought the wrong shoes. The woman approaches the closet believing that the answer she seeks is inside. Upon opening her son's wardrobe, the woman comes face to face with a hottie with beautiful black hair and green eyes. His mother makes a disgusted face and makes the air in the room somber. The woman touches his shoulders and says that he needs to act like a man, affirming visit after receiving the bonus payment from her salary. Shin justifies saying that she misunderstood and that it was a mistake. His mother affirms that he is lying, besides that it is impossible for her not to know that her otaku nerd son would be capable of kidnapping a cute girl. The boy repeats the fact that she does not understand the situation as a whole. The woman fills herself with motivational speech and affirms that a man must bear with his errors. Yozora appears behind the woman and comments that she was not kidnapped by the master. The protagonist's mother looks disdainfully and asks if they are playing servant and master. The woman then says that upon discovering her son's nature she considers sending him to a psychiatric hospital. Shin trembles in fear at the thought of being in a psychiatric facility. In a desperate attempt to convince his mother, he clings to her feet and claims that the girl Yozora was his girlfriend. The mother asks if this is true. Shin affirms that it is certainly, but he didn't tell her before because he had just started the relationship. The woman asks if his girlfriend hides in dark places like the wardrobe. The boy justifies being anxious about what his mother would say. Convinced, she sighs, quickly regains composure, and asks her daughter-in-law to visit her occasionally. Already putting on her shoes, the woman tells him to do what she asked. She also affirms that after spending some time away from her son, Shin arranged a very cute girlfriend, leaving our protagonist embarrassed. His mother throws a small box at him. Looking closely, Shin realizes that it was a protector for the warrior's sword. If you think about it, how did his mother get that so quickly? Did she already leave home prepared? Enraged, Shin hurls his mother's gift onto the bed and questions, what mother in the world would give that to her own son? The boy feels hungry for not eating the night before and remembers his instant noodles he made. But they were spoiled, determined to make another instant noodle. Our waifu Yozora's belly rumbles. Asked if she's hungry, the girl says yes. The protagonist doesn't know what to give a human-like cell to eat, asking her to open her mouth to confirm if she can eat human food. He feels embarrassed for thinking strange things. Bringing a pile of packages onto the table, he tells Yozora to choose one to eat. The girl chooses steamed bread. But she's kind of dumb and doesn't know how to open a package to eat. Shin teaches her how to open the packet and eat. The girl is happy to be eating something so good. Suddenly the magic circle is invoked again. Looking where Yozora was, he doesn't find her. However, his old cell phone was there instead of Yuzora. Is the girl the cell phone or the cell phone the girl? Now calm, Shun tries to reason why his hottie turned into a cell phone again, especially since he failed to transform Rem. So he decides to write about his power. The notes say that what he transforms becomes human. They can only use this ability once a day and there's a time limit for each transformation. Closing his notebook, he decided to sleep to make time pass faster. Even after trying several times, our main character can't close his eyes to rest. Determined to tire himself out by exercising, he comes across toilet paper. Had to be a dirty otaku. About to reach for the paper, he remembers Yuzora's face and loses total interest in what he intended to do. Lonely, the boy grabs his Hatsune Miku doll to sleep beside him. When Shun finally manages to close his eyes and sleep, a magic circle is invoked, causing him to wake up startled. Looking to the side, he comes face to face with a girl with beautiful light blue hair and a slender body. Shun realizes that the girl in front of him was kind, but extremely strong. The girl says she'll sleep first and sleeps. Analyzing his power, he realizes that all transformations occur after midnight. His goal was to turn his cell phone into Yuzora again. The fake Hatsune Miku girl calls him to sleep again and asks why he's crying. He says that half of his bed was taken and that he misses Yuzora. The girl grabs him again and says that Shun is interesting. Embarrassed, he pushes her away and doesn't intend to sleep with her. The girl asks why he doesn't want to sleep cuddled and wonders if he still likes her. The boy explains that since they are of opposite sexes, it's not right to sleep together in the same bed. The girl is an airhead and doesn't understand. Shun, with his hormones raging, tells her not to move so much to not make him dizzy. The girl, not understanding, sits on the bed and invites him to sleep. The boy gives in to the whims of his new beautiful girl and lies down. A conversation about names is emphasized. As a deja vu for the protagonist, the girl asks him to give her a name. Shun decides to call her Beiji. The girl feels comfortable with her new name. The young man is embarrassed for sleeping so close to Beiji. The main character wonders why he has a not so practical ability, and that if he could fly or teleport it would be more efficient. About to fall asleep, Beiji grabs him and presses her body against Shun, causing our poor boy to not be able to sleep. The main character wakes up startled after a magic circle appears. Looking in the direction where the beautiful girl was, he had his blanket back. Depressed, he falls into his bed, disheartened by his power lasting such a short time. Shun gets up in the morning, preparing his breakfast, and during the meal, he remembers that he did not fulfill his mother's request. Listening to noise from outside and going to investigate, he discovers that there is now a new neighbor. About to enter his house, he comes across a cute white cat. I hope what I think will happen doesn't happen. Suddenly, a high school girl appears, calling out the cat's name, Cafe, quickly apologizing for letting the cat escape and informing that she is new to the neighborhood. Shun greets the new neighbor and begins talking about his time in school. The girl interrupts him, saying she will be late for school if not quick. As he is her neighbor, she makes a request for him to take care of her cat until she returns. Seeing the girl's cute face, Shun is convinced and accepts her request. Saying goodbye, the girl thanks him and hurries to her class. The guy, upon entering the house, thinks it would be great to turn the cat into a girl. Seriously, where is this story going to take us? I'm extremely curious about it. Happy to finally have the chance to have a cat at home, the boy showers the feline with affection. Besides finding a toy to entertain the kitty, he also prepares a meal and a bowl of milk for the cat. Shun can't help but find the cat adorable. The feline feels the need to go to the bathroom, and the boy, noticing this, prepares a place for the cat to do its business. The guy is impressed by how such a cute creature can bring such a horrible smell and realizes that owning pets is harder than it seems. Until now, he had only used his powers on inanimate objects. Eager to use this on a living being like a cat, he imagines turning the cat into a maid. Looking at his phone, he remembers Yuzora and sets the right time to bring her back. Realizing it was almost midnight, the protagonist imagines the cat may have been forgotten by its owner. Touching the alarm clock, he eagerly prepares his hand to touch his phone and make Yuzora become human. However, the noise startled the cat, causing it to throw the cat-shaped toy at his fingers. A magic circle is formed, and a cat girl appears. The girl immediately thanks Shun for taking care of Cafe and her. The protagonist feels embarrassed and notices a tail on the girl's body. Realizing his gaze, the girl innocently turns so that Shun can better observe her tail. The cat girl approaches and sticks her finger in the protagonist's mouth, which he accidentally bites. Shin apologizes and puts a band-aid on the bite. The girl thanks him. Lying down sleepy, Shin can't rest. He has in a way 2 cats running around. The feline climbs and stands in front of his computer, while the human feline runs towards the cat trying to catch her. The protagonist, observing this, grabs both and scolds them for the mess being made in his house, whereas before he found them cute. Now they are unbearable to him. Angry that his house is out of order, he asks for an explanation from the talking cat. The girl apologizes for cafe but not for her mess. Looking towards the cat that was previously in his hand, he realizes that in reality the feline is in front of his computer again. But not only that, Cafe was pushing the 2D near automata doll towards the floor. Shin, observing this situation, begs for mercy from the feline. But you know how cats are? The cat, with no sign of remorse, paws at the doll, causing it to fly in free fall. The protagonist rushes to catch it but is brutally knocked down by the feline. However, he manages to save his beloved doll. The cat girl senses that her owner was nearby. Shin becomes worried because it's late for a little girl to be walking around alone. Determined to go to the door to meet her, the cat girl also offers to go with him. But the boy thinks it's better not to, as the girl wouldn't recognize the toy in its human form. Upon opening the door, the girl falls into his arms in an instant. Shin lifts her up and asks if she's feeling okay. The girl informs him that she's just tired. In addition to school, she also took care of a sick friend of hers, which is why she arrived so late. The protagonist says it's no reason to arrive so late. The girl gets upset and states that he acts just like her dad, being a complete bore. Shin tries to explain why he was worried, but the girl doesn't listen and just asks for her cat back. Cafe jumps towards her owner, and the girl thanks him for taking care of her cat. Shin interrupts and says that something happened to the toy that was with the cat. The girl says it was just a toy and that she can buy another. Then she rushes off saying it was late, and she needed to go to class the next day. Shin feels awkward for not being able to explain what happened to the toy. When he enters the house, he finds the cat Mimi weakened on the floor. The girl says she feels drained. The boy doesn't understand what happened and why she feels that way. Suddenly, a magic circle surrounds Mimi and turns her back into a toy, but the toy disappears immediately. Shin supposes that if the owner of the transformed object no longer has interest or utility, the magic circle would make it disappear from this world. Feeling guilty, Shin breaks down in tears. Shin wakes up the next morning, questioning whether what he experienced the night before was a dream or not. But not finding the cat and Mimi, the boy is sure it was all true. After discovering that the item can disappear, he immediately notes it down in his notebook. When he sees his phone, Shin is motivated to bring Yuzora back as soon as possible and sets an alarm. While working on his computer, when the alarm goes off, eager to see Yuzora, he touches his phone, and the beautiful girl with black hair appears before him. The girl rushes to hug her master, relieved not to be forgotten by Master Shin. The boy can't form a sentence and asks the girl to get off him. Yuzora asks if he's feeling uncomfortable, but he just says he can't breathe. The girl approaches the protagonist after he leaves the bathroom and says that in her phone form, she can still understand everything that's happening around her. Shin, understanding what she meant, pets her head, leaving the girl excited. The boy thinks that if he's called Master outside, there might be a misunderstanding. Yuzora asks what he meant by outside, and the protagonist affirms he wants a date just with her and is looking forward to it. The girl asks what a date is and if it's something to eat. Shin gives her a lesson on what a date is and how to behave on one, and Yuzora is happy to go on a date with her master. The boy scolds the girl for not calling him older brother anymore, but when she calls him that, he feels satisfied. In the encounter, the two buy cotton candy. Yuzora observes a crowd and asks the two to go to a stall. Arriving at the location, they see a tofu shop. The protagonist doesn't like tofu due to its strong smell that makes him want to vomit. When faced with a food stall, the girl asserts that regardless of her master's choice, she will eat whatever she wants. Shin considers her very understanding and orders 2 sandwiches from the stall owner, who quickly prepares them. Yuzora tries the sandwich and finds it delicious. A woman approaches them from behind, saying they make a wonderful couple and asks if they wouldn't mind looking at her accessories. The girl, excited by the seller's proposal, delicately observes the rings, while our boy Shin, who doesn't understand women, asks the value of one in particular. The young seller says it's a bit expensive but also has a couple's promotion. The young teenage boy feels happy for them, assuming he's dating that beautiful girl. Yuzora picks a ring and places it on her left ring finger. The seller corrects her, saying it's for marriage only. Shin, upon hearing this, imagines marrying that beautiful girl and decides to take that ring. The woman runs off after completing her sale. Soon, we discover that surveillance was patrolling, causing the vendors to flee. Yuzora mentions they didn't receive change from the remaining money. The protagonist and the girl try to catch up with the seller but have no idea where she is. Observing the area and the shops around, he comes across a couple's hotel. The innocent Yuzora asks where they are. Shortly after, Shin pulls her away and says that place isn't suitable for them to play. The girl asks if that pretty lady was the one at the protagonist's house. Looking in Yuzora's direction, Shin sees his father and mother leaving the hotel. What did I say earlier? Realizing they can't be seen in that area, especially with a girl, Shin quickly pulls Yuzora to a corner to hide. Looking around, he sees an attendant and asks if there's a couple's room available. When the extra looks at them, he can't help but find them normal. The protagonist asserts he'll take that room and shows his ID to the attendant. They receive their entry card and ID back. Shin feels grateful but also senses that the situation is strange. In the elevator, Yuzora asks what kind of place this is and why they're there. Shin explains they can't be seen by his mother to avoid disrupting her date, and they should rest. The slow girl says she understands. Opening the door with their entry card, they find a pink room with a heart-shaped bed, clearly indicating certain things. Excitedly, Yuzora invites him in and quickly jumps onto the bed, hugging the heart-shaped pillow. Shin, realizing the situation they're in, feels like vomiting. The girl notices his unease and asks if he's okay. He says he's just hot and will turn on the air conditioner. Yuzora suggests he should take a shower since he's sweating a lot, pointing to the shower. Shin feels embarrassed that the shower area is so inappropriate. Feeling chills at the thought of showering there, he says the hotel bathroom isn't good and they should go home if they want to take a shower. The girl says he's not usually such a coward. Shin realizes the girl in front of him is his phone and has seen all his embarrassing situations. Yuzora notices his uneasy behavior and assures him she won't tell anyone about his situations. Shin lies down a bit to relax, and the girl says she feels a desire to be with him. The boy, not understanding, questions the meaning of her statement. Yuzora then says she likes being alone with him because she doesn't have to compete with Beiji and the others. The girl then asks for a kiss from our smelly otaku. Upon hearing the girl's desire, Shin feels embarrassed and nervous because the request was so sudden. While trying to get closer, Yuzora claims that time is up and a magic circle appears, transforming her into her object form. The young man wonders if that was a confession or not. At the reception, the protagonist pays for his stay but is asked where the girl who entered with him was, then jokes that she has already left. Departing, he declares he won't return. The next day, he continues jotting down notes about his touch ability, using examples of his attempts to transform fire, water, or plants into a hot girl, satisfied that his power doesn't work on his bandage, allowing him to hide his hands. Using the computer, he stumbles upon a blog. A comment from a saleswoman catches his attention, stating that the girl sold rings and mistakenly sold her boyfriend's ring. He remembers the young saleswoman who had approached him with Yuzora. In the comment, the young woman mentions that the boy she sold the ring to was alone. The protagonist questions if it was really the saleswoman he had encountered. Shin returns to the location from the previous day and fortunately finds the saleswoman. He approaches her, claiming to be the guy who bought her ring. The saleswoman recognizes him and asks if he can return the ring. The boy confirms he was there just for that, and the young woman returns the protagonist's money, apologizing for the inconvenience. Shin takes the opportunity to ask why she had said he was alone the day before. She explains he was the only boy without company. Nervously, he asks if she didn't see the girl with him, but the saleswoman insists there was no one with him, leaving Shin shocked that she doesn't remember Yuzora. Thus, he goes to meet the hotel receptionist where he had stayed, telling the clerk he had lost his backpack and urgently needs to see the security footage. The clerk shows him entering alone without the backpack. Shin apologizes for the trouble, saying he must have left it elsewhere. Seizing the moment, he asks if he was accompanied by a beautiful girl on the day he was there. The clerk, impatiently, states that Shin was alone. In his apartment's bathroom, The main character supposes that all memories of transformed girls are forgotten when they return to their common state. After finishing washing, he searches for his towel, but upon touching it, a magic circle appears, transforming it into a hot girl. Shin realizes too late that he wasn't using a bandage to protect his hand. The young girl realizes she can now speak. Shin, embarrassed, tells her not to look as he searches for clothes. His boxers speak, implying they've been more intimate than this. He kicks the girl out of the room, saying he doesn't need her help. Leaving the bathroom, he looks for the beautiful girl. She's on the balcony, seemingly distracted, asking about the outside world. Shin, caught off guard, doesn't understand her question. She then talks about everything regarding the vastness of the world. The girl asks if just this once she can leave to see the world outside, and Shin, easily persuaded by her, agrees. She gives him a kiss on the cheek and drags him outside, making him plead to get dressed before leaving the apartment. They walk through the square, with the boy realizing he hasn't named his underwear yet. He decides to call her Gray, who doesn't mind what she's called. Upon seeing a vending machine, she asks about its origin. Shin explains it's a beverage machine, but Gray shows no interest, saying it's just colored liquid and can't be good. He buys 2 drinks for them, and Gray, satisfied with experiencing the world firsthand, asks if they can stay there for the night and not return so soon. Shin declines, citing the upcoming cold. Gray claims to be drunk and insists they don't need to go home. Shin considers but fears being alone on the street later. He's curious how she got drunk on soda. Shin asks if she really wants to stay there overnight. Gray confirms she does, but Shin insists they'll go home soon. In the morning, the protagonist is woken up by passers-by questioning why he was sleeping there holding on to a pair of underwear. Already at home, our otaku boy begins to read a manga when he realizes that maybe his power is capable of evolving and making the hotties dress the way he desires. However, he quickly thinks that it wouldn't be very advantageous, but rather tiring. A car alarm sound goes off, and the protagonist goes to check the situation, realizing there are 2 thieves. He decides to take a closer look. The thieves notice that the camera isn't working, and the guard is snoring. The main character comes up with a plan to act since the police wouldn't be able to arrive in time to deal with those thieves. Just as they are about to escape, one of the thieves is hit by a purple-lighted cell phone. Without understanding what was happening, a hottie falls on his face. I wonder if that's luck or bad luck. His confused partner is hit with a kick from a crazily dressed person. Moments later, the protagonist reads in the local newspaper that 2 car thieves were captured that day. Watching the news, one of the thieves tells the camera that a cell phone fell from the sky and turned into a person, hence why he was knocked out. The protagonist feels satisfied to be able to use his powers in such a way. Yuzora complains of feeling hot and asks if she can take off her clothes. Shin, being a true alpha male, denies the girl's request, stating that women can't be without clothes in front of men. The girl asks if he doesn't have better clothes to wear in the heat. The boy has a brilliant idea. Shin asks Yuzora if a pool would be a good place since it was hot. The girl doesn't understand the term, pool. Would she be able to take a bath since she's a cell phone, right? Arriving at a water park, Yuzora says she always wanted to swim, as it was her dream. Shin thinks it was completely impossible before because the girl was just a phone, but he tells Yuzora that he will teach her to swim. A woman approaches them from behind, asking if they need swimwear, and the protagonist thinks Yuzora will need one. In the store, the woman shows them around. Yuzora is impressed by the clothes, finding them beautiful, like the ones on Shin's phone. The woman doesn't understand what she meant, so Shin quickly prevents Yuzora from making the situation more embarrassing and says she meant the clothes were beautiful. The woman boasts that her clothes are majestic as she designed them, and as she says these words, the protagonist scolds Yuzora for commenting on the photos stored in the phone. Seeing women's swimwear, our otaku boy feels embarrassed. The store owner convinces him to buy a suit by offering a discount and giving him 2 daring bikini options for Yuzora. The protagonist refuses the options because he believes his human-like cell phone shouldn't wear something so vulgar. The woman offers him 2 options again, but this time they are very childish or ugly one-piece swimsuits. While deciding, Shin notices a green bikini on the shelf and asks to see it closely. The woman congratulates him for having a great eye, as that suit was a limited edition for couples. Shin, hearing it was a couple's suit, feels happy and decides to take it. Putting on swimwear himself, he can't help but think that if Yuzora transforms while in the pool, they might have some problems. The woman compliments Shin, saying he looks great in that swimsuit. Yozora calls out to the protagonist after changing clothes, and upon turning around, he is immediately enchanted and compliments the girl in front of him. They decide to head to the pool to swim. Suddenly, a red-haired girl approaches and calls out to the protagonist, her first words indicating that she was distressed seeing his situation with Yozora. The atmosphere becomes extremely heavy and dark. Shin asks if she is Xian Xiaoan, and the girl becomes furious that the boy does not remember her so precisely. Still upset, Xian wonders how and when the protagonist managed to get a hot girl. He was so interested in taking the girl with him to play that he quickly forgot who she was. Yozora asks who the girl in front of them is, and Shin responds that she is a childhood friend. Xian calls Shin a shameless pervert for getting a younger, smaller girl to be his girlfriend and even forcing her to call him brother. The protagonist says that, in fact, there is a misunderstanding and that she is mistaken. Outraged, Xian says there is no other way to interpret this. Furthermore, she says that when she confessed her feelings to him, he said he only saw her as a sister, but now Shin is with a younger girl than her. The boy tries to remember the girl's confession of feelings, and suddenly a memory from their childhood comes to his mind. When they were kids, the two were inseparable, which made their mothers wish that when they got older, they would become mothers-in-law to each other and even get a baby to take care of. Xian heard this, so on a fateful day, the little girl asked if she could be Shin's fiancé when they grew up. But he, being a virgin and otaku since childhood, stated that he treated Xian as a sister. Hearing these words, the little girl couldn't hold back her tears. Shin wonders if a childhood confession is something that should count, so he tells Xian that they were just kids back then. The girl says to forget about it, as many years have passed since the event. She then introduces herself to Yozora and asks for her name. The two are delighted by each other's names. Xian whispers in Yozora's ear that if the stupid boy tries to intimidate her or force her into anything, she should look for Xian, who would take care of it. Hearing this, Yozora asserts that Shin wouldn't intimidate her. Xian does not understand why she trusts him so much and wonders if the girl has been brainwashed. Two girls appear, calling Xian. The protagonist's childhood friend approaches and says that if Shin tries to harm Yozora in the future, he will not find peace until she finds him. On their way home, the girl, in her cell phone form, comments that their protagonist is extremely popular among women. Shin disagrees and says he sees Xian only as a childhood friend. Taking advantage of the situation, Yozora asks the protagonist if he also only sees her as a sister. Caught by surprise, our proud otaku finally asks if Yozora would like to be his girlfriend. The girl says she would like to be with him all the time, but it is impossible. Then a magic circle appears. Back in her cell phone form, the protagonist says he will wait for her again. The next morning, the protagonist is woken up by his mother calling to ask why he was still in bed, sleeping at that time of day. Shin lies, saying he's been awake for a long time and asks why she's calling. His mother says she wants to sell his car and calls her son to come over. When he arrives at his parents' house, his mother says that although she likes the car a lot, it is out of warranty and having problems, so she wants to replace or sell it. Shin says that she has always kept the car because she liked it, and if it still works, she shouldn't sell it. His mother asks why he is saying this, but she says the car was taken to the mechanic, and since it's very old, new parts are no longer available. Moreover, the cost of maintaining it is extremely high. An idea pops into our otaku's head. He quickly asks his mother to take some time for herself and says he will take care of everything. When alone, Shin decides to turn the car into a hot girl and ask her what he should do to make her well. Touching the vehicle, a magic circle is summoned and a beautiful red-haired girl appears. The girl says she knows him and that he is the stupid son of her owner. The protagonist thinks that she can hear him in her car form. Shin's idea was to transform the car into a woman to find out what was wrong with her. As she coughs, he offers her some water. The girl drinks the water but quickly chokes and spits out oil and several screws. The car says she feels better and thanks Shin for helping her. As a way of thanking him, the girl asks if he would like to sit in her seat. Otaku protagonist declines the girl's request. The girl thinks he doesn't like her because of her age and asks if he remembers how long she has been with them. The protagonist says it has been 14 years. The car says it has been 15 years and a few months and that she can be discarded. This is the fate of a car from the moment of its creation. Noticing his sadness, the girl tries to comfort him. She then thanks the protagonist for transforming her into a beautiful human. Her transformation could not have been better. Shin listens carefully to her last request, to be driven one last time. Determined to keep his promise, he remembers that he has never driven a car since getting his driver's license and is feeling nervous about it. The protagonist calls Yuzora and asks how to figure out why parts are no longer made after 15 years. Shin asks the girl if she wants to accompany him from now on, as he has a license and will need a car in the future. He says that whenever the car has a problem, he will transform her into a human and take care of her. The girl thanks him deeply and says she was wrong about the silly boy. Suddenly, the protagonist feels extremely tired and faints. When he wakes up, he is leaning against the car. Shin realizes that only an hour has passed and that his power wore off quickly. He supposes that using his ability on complex objects causes more fatigue and tiredness. His mother was there, watching him, but he hadn't even noticed her presence. She asks him why it is taking so long, and if the car has been fixed. Shin says he managed to fix the car, impressing his mother with his abilities. The protagonist asks his mother to give him the car so he can practice his driving skills. After all, she wants to get rid of the vehicle. His mother agrees with his idea, justifying that now with a girlfriend, he will need to take her on dates. Shin grabs his mother's shoulders abruptly and asks if she still remembers Yuzora. Annoyed, his mother asks what he means by those words and if he has done anything suspicious with the girl. Shin denies his mother's accusations and says he is just impressed that she remembers the girl who was with him that day. His mother is still angry that he thinks she could forget something so recent. To calm things down, the protagonist says he plans to bring Yuzora to visit her next time. His mother asks if they are really okay. The protagonist reassures his mother and says again that everything is fine. His mother says she will forgive him this time because it wouldn't be easy to find a new girlfriend if he doesn't value things naturally. Inside the car, the protagonist prepares to leave and says goodbye to his mother. On his way back home, driving what was once a beautiful girl, the protagonist thinks that everyone has forgotten Yuzora except his mother, and now he is determined to create opportunities to test these theories. Seeing something, he stops the car. Looking at a garbage disposal site, Shin comes across an abandoned cat in a cardboard box. Noticing that the cat is injured and looks a lot like Mimi, he decides to take her to his apartment. He treats the animal's wounds. However, the protagonist didn't expect this little creature would be a nuisance in his future life. When he calls Yuzora to go to the market with him, the girl declines, saying the poor cat would be scared to be left alone at home. Also, when he calls his blanket to sunbathe, the girl refuses, saying she is getting a massage from the cat. Shin sits sadly in the corner, thinking that people say cats bring happiness, but it's not going that way for him. While studying for his final exams, unlucky Shin has his hand protector pulled off by the cat, causing a magic circle to appear in front of him, and also a child. She accidentally kicks him. Angry, Shin asks why she did that, and the girl responds that it wasn't intentional. As she gets up, the protagonist decides to call her Mousa. The girl is much more impressed to have become flesh and blood than to have a name. The main character decides to focus more on his studies than on the girl in front of him, as he needs to pass his exams. However, his mouse in human form prevents him from using his computer. Shin asks if the girl wants to see who she has become. Ratsuo says yes, and Shin suggests she look in the mirror to see who she has turned into. Deciding to continue his studies for good results, a brilliant idea comes to his mind. If his phone can still receive calls and have other phone functions, then his mouse, which has become Mousa, should work similarly. Shin observes her carefully and thinks about how he will use his mouse in human form. The girl is startled by the expressions on his face and accuses him of being a disgusting otaku. He justifies himself by saying he was only trying to find a way to study. Mousa feels relieved and says she will help him control the computer, but not for free. The price Shin will have to pay is a massage, as he exerts too much pressure on Mousa in her object form. Noticing Shin's reluctant reaction, the brunette girl asks if he's not satisfied and also says it's genius to use her daily but not be willing to give her a massage. The main character justifies that they shouldn't be so physically close. Mousa is disgusted by his otaku nature. Shin apologizes and says it wasn't meant to be like that. He then asks the mouse what type of massage she prefers. Mousa doesn't care what kind it is, just that she wants to relieve the aches in her body. The protagonist says he will give a pressure massage to help her. Already lying down, Shin starts the massage on the girl, but upon touching her leg, he scares her. The boy explains that it was a leg massage that would relieve her pains and discomforts. As part of her promise, the girl teaches him to control the computer through her hair. Shin, successfully studying, feels like the emperor of the world and is satisfied that the day has been productive. On another day, the boy is still focused on learning his subjects because he's about to participate in a social practice. Looking at his pet, Shin imagines that a cat's life must be amazing, consisting only of eating and sleeping. Frustrated by his inability to focus and learn, he decides to transform his pen into a hot girl to help with his tasks. Shin recalls that at school, he wasn't able to answer the teacher's questions and even confused what they were trying to say, as he was very distracted during classes when he was younger. But he was always accompanied by his pen, which had been in his hands even after so much time. The pen was actually not bought by the boy but was a gift from a girl. The boy thinks of a plan to transform his pen into a woman and have her finish his task. Done and done, he transforms it into a hot girl. When the girl appears, she calls Shin a time-wasting master because he wasn't studying and was just procrastinating. Hearing this, the boy feels as if he has been slapped in the face. The pen asks for a name, and Shin is happy with the request, deciding to call her Lammy. The girl dislikes the name because it's just the company's brand. She asks why she was transformed into a human. Shin begs her to help with his tasks. Lammy refuses, saying she was disappointed because it was something extremely insignificant. She explains that the tasks aren't hers and that she hates teaching others. Shin continues to beg until the girl agrees, but with a request in return. Shin doesn't understand what a pen would want from him. The girl then says that she actually doesn't have anything in mind at the moment, but will think of a request and tell him later. Lammy says she will help him, but he has to make an effort to transform her into a human whenever possible, and she will only teach him if he is diligent in his activities. Hearing the girl's request, the protagonist is shocked to be forced to do his homework. Shin tells his pen that she is not a teacher and that she was his pen and had to follow his orders, saying that she should help with his task. Lammy grabs a ruler and threatens the protagonist if he doesn't start studying. The main character apologizes for the mistake and begs to be taught. The girl shows him affection and starts helping him with his studies. Shin feels satisfied to complete difficult math operations, while the girl is annoyed to teach someone with learning problems. Lammy gets tired and falls asleep on the protagonist's bed. Shin is impressed by how quickly she fell asleep and decides to focus on biology, his best subject. However, because he spent so much time studying another subject, biology is now very difficult. He decides to wake Lammy, saying they need to spend more time together. The girl retorts that Shin had said his best subject was biology. The surprised boy is thrown onto his bed, and in shock, he asks Lammy what she intends to do. The woman replies that she will teach him biology. Waking up at night, Shin realizes he has slept half the day and hasn't completed his assignment. Looking at his notebook, he sees that his pen Lammy had completed it for him while he slept, and the boy is confused about the events after falling asleep. One day, the protagonist was assigned by his teacher to a temporary job at a cleaning location. Upon arriving, a young man greeted him and gave him the uniform. Shin began his work sweeping a park until he heard a female voice. Looking in that direction, he realized it was his childhood friend being harassed by a man. The protagonist removed the man's hands from his friend Xian and scolded him for behaving like that towards a fine lady. The young man became furious and told Shin that it was none of his business what was happening. The main character stated that he would call the security as he worked there. The young man mocked Shin's courage to call the security but fled immediately out of fear of being caught. Shin asked Xian if she was okay and if she was hurt. The girl responded that she was fine and asked why he was dressed like that. The protagonist explained that it was a temporary job for school and that he was volunteering for the cleaning at that place. Concerned for the girl, Shin offered to take her home later when his shift ended. The girl accepted the protagonist's offer. At the end of Shin's shift, they met and a heavy rain started. The protagonist invited Xian to get into his car to escape the storm, offering her a towel. Fearing being pursued by that man again and with her clothes wet, the girl asked to go to Shin's house to dry her clothes first. The young man was caught off guard by the girl's sudden request, but he agreed and took her to his apartment. Upon arrival, Xian thanked Shin for protecting her and noticed it was the first time she had been to his house. Shin told her she could make herself at home and prepared a hot cup of tea for her. The girl was charmed by Shin's cat and asked how long he had had it. Shin replied that he had recently found the feline. The protagonist suggested Xian take a hot shower since her clothes clothes were wet and she might catch a cold, pointing her to the bathroom. Shin was in shock at having agreed to the girl's sudden request and having brought her to his apartment. Realizing he was hungry, Shin decided to prepare something for them to eat. When Xian came out of the shower, she found Shin offering her some noodles. While they ate, the girl noticed a pen and asked if it was the one she had given Shin as a gift a long time ago. The protagonist confirmed it was and explained that it was very easy to use. Xian was happy to have given him something useful. After finishing the meal, the girl decided to ask Shin why his right hand was bandaged and if it was an injury. The young man explained that his hand was having an allergic reaction and needed medication. Hearing this, the girl said she would wash the dishes since it might be inconvenient for him to do such things. Shin said it was unnecessary because she was a guest. The girl said they were close enough to care about these things. Shin's hand ended up getting wet when he tried to help her, causing Xian to worry because he had said he had an allergy on his hand. The protagonist reassured her that he would change the bandage later. Shin's cat tickled the girl's legs, causing her to slip and almost fall. Shin, by pure reflex, ended up grabbing Xian's back, but his bandana was poorly placed, activating a magic circle that transformed her clothes into another woman's outfit. Sitting at the table with an uncomfortable atmosphere, Xian asked what was happening and why a small girl had suddenly appeared. The protagonist said he would explain but told her not to view him as a perverted man. He explained to Xian that he had superpowers. His childhood friend, hearing this, asked if he thought he was in a manhwa. Shin retorted that she had never seen clothes turn into a child in an instant. He told her to look at the child in front of her and see if she didn't look like the clothes she had just been wearing. Xian said that even if it were true, what kind of superpower did he have? The protagonist explained that his power transformed various objects into beautiful girls with just the touch of his right hand. The girl was impressed by his words and realized that the girl in front of her had been transformed by the protagonist's power. In shock, she said she didn't think such a superpower could exist. Shin asked her to do him a favor and not tell anyone about it. Xian remarked that for someone with the nickname Delirious Boy, wanting to be discreet now was strange. The protagonist felt awkward about the girl's observation, but quickly the girl said she wouldn't tell anyone and asked what they should do with the child. Shin said that after a while, she would return to her original state. Xian asked if he saw anything when she fell. The protagonist, acting foolishly, said he saw nothing. The girl was embarrassed and asked to forget the matter, requesting to check the time. Since it was already very late, Shin said it would be best for her to stay the night and that he would take her home the next day. The girl said her parents would complain if she didn't come home that night. The protagonist realized that her parents were very strict and asked what they should do. Xian said that it wouldn't be a problem to not go home that night, but she asked Shin to become her boyfriend. The protagonist is caught off guard by the girl's sudden proposal. Shin begins to imagine that Xian has liked him for a long time and is confessing her feelings, but he quickly dismisses such thoughts and asks her why she wants to become his girlfriend. The girl then explains that if he were her boyfriend, her parents, who would otherwise be restrictive, wouldn't mind her staying over at a boy's house. Essentially, she's asking him to pretend to be her boyfriend. Shin understands what the girl means. Xian, who is being pursued by other guys, will be able to avoid them by pretending to date Shin. Without knowing the girl's plan, Shin agrees to fake being her boyfriend. Not satisfied, Xian decides to ask one more question. Could their otaku boy pretend to be her boyfriend every day? Shin asks if pretending just for her parents wouldn't be enough. The girl replies that if he pretended to be her boyfriend, then her ex-boyfriend would stop pursuing her, as we saw earlier. The girl also expresses her fear of ex-boyfriends continuing to stalk her. Shin agrees to be her fake boyfriend if it will help. The girl then asks the name of the shirt that had become human. The girl says she hasn't been given a name by her master yet, so Shin decides to call her E. The fake girlfriend asks what name he gave to the little girl. Shin says he hadn't thought of a better name since it was just a shirt, and he tries not to tell her that's exactly what he did. Shin's fake girlfriend then praises the choice of name, saying it's a pleasant one. The protagonist says it's time for them to go to bed because it's getting late. The next morning, they are at the apartment door. Shin offers to take Xian home, but the girl says it's already daytime and he doesn't need to. So, He tells her to be careful. The girl approaches and asks the protagonist if he has turned back into a piece of clothing. Shin is shocked that Xin remembers the shirt that turned into a girl. The protagonist asks if she still remembers E clearly, and the girl replies that she does and that she has no memory problems. The boy confirms that E has returned to her original form. Xin says she wants to see her again. The protagonist's fake girlfriend says goodbye and leaves, and he goes back to the apartment, but he still can't stop thinking about how Xin remembers E. The next day, Shin is woken up by the sound of the doorbell. Someone is ringing it nonstop. Irritated, Shin opens the door, wanting to know why someone is bothering him so early. To his surprise, it's his little neighbor. The girl says good morning and asks if she woke him up. Feeling awkward for being mad at her, Shin tries to play it cool. He then asks what the little girl wants with him so early. She explains that she invited her friends over to play video games at her house, but her TV broke, so she's asking to borrow Shin. Shin would like to help her, but since he lives alone, he doesn't own a TV. The little girl is completely shocked to learn that there are people who don't have a TV at home. However, Shin doesn't find it strange at all. Since he doesn't have what the little girl needs, she apologizes for bothering him and leaves. Alone in his apartment, Shin starts to wonder if it's really that strange for someone living alone not to have a TV. He already has a computer. A TV would just be an extra expense for him. Suddenly, someone starts ringing the doorbell again. This time, Shin answers even more irritated. But it wasn't the little girl at his door again. It was a delivery man. The delivery man informs him that he has a delivery for Shin and asks him to sign the receipt. A large box is delivered to the protagonist. He wonders what could be inside since he doesn't remember ordering anything. To his surprise, there's an old TV inside. Along with the TV, there's a note from Shin's mother saying she had nowhere to store it, so she sent it to him. Shin connects the cables to the TV, and at least it's working. But suddenly, the image disappears, and it's just a gray screen. Later, the image returns out of nowhere. The TV has some kind of defect, and since his mother is too lazy to take it to the repair shop, she found it easier to send it to her son. Since it's an old model, it probably won't be easy to fix. So, the young man comes up with an idea to repair the device. An orange magic circle appears, and out of it comes a girl with a somewhat vintage appearance. Shin greets the ex-television turned into a girl. She asks if Shin is her master, if he remembers when Shin lived at his mother's house, and where she is. Shin explains to the TV that he's no longer at his mother's house and is living alone now. The girl starts coughing heavily. Worried about her, the protagonist asks if she's feeling okay, but the TV says that this cough is normal for her, which is quite strange. Being an old model, she thinks she should have already been scrapped. This makes Shin think about the lives of these objects. When they reach a point where they can't be repaired, does that mean their lives are over? Holding the girl's hands, Shin asks her not to say such things. There must be a way to repair her, and he will find out how. A bit more cheerful, she thanks Shin. She mentions that she's always had a wish she'd like Shin to fulfill for her, and of course, he offers to do so. She asks Shin if he could take her to take a look around. Shin understands that she wants to see the outside, since she has always stayed indoors. She has some idea of what the outside world is like, but she wants to see it with her own eyes. Shin thinks for a moment about her request. He says they can't go anywhere far, just around the city. But that's enough for her, and she asks if they can go today. Shin feels shaken. This outing wasn't part of his plans, but not wanting to disappoint her, he says he doesn't have anything else to do that day and could go with her. The girl gets excited and is ready to see the world. A little later, they're in the city. The TV girl's eyes shine with excitement. She's impressed that everything around her is so beautiful. Shin is happy that the girl really likes this place. Suddenly, she spots a place that catches her attention even more. She points at it, telling Shin that she knows that's where people eat. Seeing a store, she excitedly says that's where people buy clothes. In a square, she recognizes that it's a place for people to rest. She even embarrasses Shin by pointing out where boys and girls go on dates. The young man ends up covering her mouth before she can say anything else strange. Shin says that this is not a place for dates, and she shouldn't say that. Plus, she's talking too loudly. Curious about the purpose of the place, Shin ends up explaining that it's just somewhere to stay for a short time. He thinks it's better to take the TV girl to other places and asks her to behave. The two end up going to a shopping mall, and Shin gets the girl some ice cream, which she obviously finds delicious. Then something in a store catches her attention. The TV girl is charmed by a dress displayed in a shop window. Noticing her interest, Shin asks if she wants to go inside to take a closer look. As soon as they enter the store, the girl is amazed. A sales assistant quickly appears, welcoming the pair and telling them to feel free to look around. Shin asks the assistant to get the dress from the display for the TV girl to try on. As soon as she puts on the dress, she calls for her master, shyly asking if the dress suits her. After all, it's the first time she's tried one on. Of course, both he and the assistant agree that she looks beautiful. To make her happy, Shin buys the dress. Even so, she feels a bit unsure about her master buying the dress for her, but Shin tells her not to worry. It's rare for her to go out on outing. That's why he gave her the dress as a kind of souvenir. She's grateful for the gift. Soon after, they pass by a place where people are cosplaying. The MC comments that it's rare to see such an event, and the TV girl doesn't seem to know exactly what this event is. A girl approaches them, asking if they'd like to participate in the cosplay experience event. She says the event is free, and they can take a commemorative photo. Shin notices that the TV girl likes the idea. He tells her she should try it, and although she feels a bit unsure, the young man says he'll help her try it out. She appears in several cute cosplays, including one like what Yuzora wears. Shin gets all excited, saying she looks beautiful in all of them. The event girl suggests taking a photo of the two of them, and of course, the MC wouldn't miss this opportunity. She counts to 3 to take the picture, capturing all the TV girl's cuteness. A little later, the pair are heading back home. The girl thanks Shin for fulfilling her wish. He also thanks her for keeping him company. She says calmly that she has no regrets, and Shin becomes apprehensive. Right after, she disappears, leaving only a sparkling dust in the air. That night, he is reflecting on what happened alone in his apartment. The girl really disappeared. He didn't think it would happen so soon. After the TV girl disappeared, the clothes she originally wore also vanished. She remembers her thanking her young master and saying she had no regrets. Then the MC picks up his cell phone, wondering if the girl really had no regrets as he looks at the photo they took together. Back at the shopping mall. This time Shin went there with Yuzora. She asks why he suddenly decided to go out with her. The MC grumbles that she has to be more conscious as the female protagonist, leaving the girl confused. So he decides to explain better, saying that Yuzora is always wearing the same clothes, and the girl, still not understanding, asks if there's anything wrong with that. Shin continues that her clothes, even though very cute, draw attention, and people always look at her when they go out. Innocently, she points out that he was the one who bought these clothes for her, surprising the young man. He probably forgot about that. Anyway, he says he just wants to buy some regular clothes for her. As they walk past the stores, Yuzora is delighted with the number of clothes there. Seeing that she likes it, the MC tells her to take her time and try on the ones she likes. The girl looks at various pieces in the store, but for some reason, she seems confused, so she goes looking for Shin, who asks if something's wrong. She confesses that she can't choose. Every outfit she sees is beautiful, so the MC decides to help her. Afterward, he seems mesmerized by the clothes, picking out several that he finds pretty, his eyes sparkling. Then he turns to Yuzora, saying he's picked out lots of clothes. The only problem is that the pieces he picked were for him. Since that wasn't the objective, he goes to choose some for the girl. As soon as she comes out of the fitting room, shyly, Yuzora asks Shin if the t-shirt looks good on her, though she feels it's a bit short. The MC rushes to her, closing the fitting room door, saying she can't go out dressed like that. It was his mistake since the girl was wearing a dress. He should have picked out pants for her too. So he asks her to wait there while he goes to get her some pants, insisting she not leave before he returns. He quickly brings her some pants. After shopping, the girl is heading back, all excited, but Shin doesn't seem too happy. She thanks him for buying her lots of clothes, smiling happily. Suddenly, he stops walking and says seriously that he should be the one thanking her for that day, leaving the girl confused. A tear rolls down the MC's face, leaving poor Yuzora in shock. She drops the bag she was holding and gives Shin a tight hug with teary eyes. Trying to cheer him up, she says that he will still meet the other girl again, just like Mimi. Later, the MC seems better while he is on the computer. Only when his stomach starts to growl, he realizes it's late, and he was just playing games, forgetting to eat. Shin thinks he ate all the instant noodles he had, so he should go out and buy something. So he closes the door to his house and starts going down the stairs. Only at that moment does he notice something. He forgot to put the bandage on his hand. Since he has already summoned Yuzora today, he thinks his power won't activate again if he returns before midnight. Even with only 1 hour left, he walks calmly. Looking around, he notices that the second part of the apartments is already finished. Maybe his mother could rent an apartment there. Finally, he goes to the store, leaving satisfied that he bought some instant noodles to keep as a reserve. But that's not what he wants to eat right now. Just ahead, he notices a place that's open. He enters an almost empty restaurant and orders a bowl of rice with potatoes and meat to go. As soon as he looks at the clock on the wall, he realizes it's late, and he should have already returned home to put his bandage back on. He runs to get back as fast as he can, but there are only 5 minutes left. He's annoyed with himself, wondering why his food took so long and why he has to live so far away. On the way, Shin passes by a couple flirting on a bench, and he gets angry, finding it disgusting and a total disregard for single people. From staring so much at the couple, he misses a step and is about to fall in front of the whole plaza, but somehow, he manages to catch himself and is applauded by the people around him. Shin feels exhausted after going through that, relieved that even though he almost fell into Mother Nature's embrace, both he and his food are okay. Then he notices he leaned his hand on the wall. Since it's the wall of the building, it should be fine. His powers shouldn't be strong enough to turn the wall into a girl. At that moment, the wall starts to glow. Not just the wall, but the entire building shines, drawing the attention of passers-by. Shin had closed his eyes due to the bright light, and opens them slowly as the light fades. What also fades is the ground and all the construction that was around him. The MC panics, about to fall into a pit with no chance of escape. After the fall, he notices something strange, since he feels no pain at all. Instead, he's facing a very cute girl who stares at him without saying a word. In the place where the building used to be, there are several police tapes to keep people away. A police officer is talking to passers-by, trying to find out if they saw anything. The officer tells the girl and the MC that people passing by saw the building emit a bright light and then disappear. But since the camera there was broken, it was impossible to confirm if the situation was like that, and since the two fell into the building's foundation, he would like to know what they saw at that time. The MC thinks that the building he wants to know about is right in front of him, but it's impossible to tell him that. So the MC says he lives in an apartment nearby, went shopping, and passed by the building on his way back, only seeing a light and it disappeared. After hearing Shin, the officer asks about the girl, but she turns away, refusing to talk to him. Trying to fix the situation, the MC says she is his younger sister, and is in shock because of what happened. Resigned, the officer just asks the MC to leave his ID and contact information in case they need to reach him, and the MC does as the man asks. Then, Shin walks away, pulling the girl by the arm. Elsewhere, he thinks about what he should do. There are many people around, and he doesn't think his power will last long. He needs to find a way to turn her back. Then the girl says she knows him, but the MC doesn't know how that could be possible. She asks if he was the one who stopped the car thief about a month ago. So, Shin understands how she saw him, and says she must also know about the powers of his right hand. It was an accident turning her, so he needs to make her go back to normal. Despite this, he blames himself for what happened, as he should have put the bandage on his hand. The girl simply agrees, saying with a mocking smile that it was all his fault, that Shin deserves what has happened. After hearing this, the MC realizes that this girl's personality isn't good. Suddenly, he notices that several people are running in one direction, where a man was shouting that it was definitely the work of an alien. A light surrounded the building, and then it disappeared. This was impossible for science to explain. Looking at him, Shin thinks that stupid couple is still causing trouble. In addition to the curious, now several reporters have shown up, so Shin won't be able to take the girl away. The MC stutters a bit to talk to the girl, until, a little cautiously, he asks if she can do him a favor. But just as he expected, she asks why she should do something for him. Trying to be friendly, Shin says she can't stay in that form for long. That's why he needs her help. The building girl says she will reluctantly cooperate with him. Even though she's annoying, the MC is grateful for this. Suddenly, the voice of someone asking what was that in the sky catches the crowd's attention. The building girl points up, saying she saw a white spot flying in the sky, and everyone is stunned. Then another person points to the sky. It was the MC saying he saw the spot flying by and encouraging everyone to chase after it. Immediately, the curious crowd focuses on the direction the duo pointed to. The building girl returns to her original spot, wondering if all she has to do is stand there. Fortunately, there's almost no one around anymore. Then she notices something happening. A light begins to emanate from her. People are shocked again, seeing the building had just reappeared, shining brightly once more. From a distance, Shin thinks that at least the girl managed to return to her original spot in time. On another day, the MC is at a port. Looking around, it seems like he is searching for someone. Shin even stares in the direction of the boat, but he doesn't find what he's looking for, wondering if Jong-Yun has already arrived and if this is indeed the meeting place. Earlier, while he was on the computer, someone called him, inviting him to go out. His friend won a luxury cruise trip for two and invited him to go along. Obviously, the MC wouldn't refuse, traveling on a cruise for free. Back to the present, Shin keeps looking around, wondering where the girl is, who approaches without him noticing. She covers his eyes and asks him to guess who it is, leaving the MC confused. After taking her hands off his eyes, the girl is laughing because she managed to startle him and says it's time to go. Then the two of them get in line to board the ship. The girl is impressed that the cruise is so luxurious. On the other hand, the MC is struggling to carry her heavy bags and asks her to walk more slowly because the luggage is a bit heavy. Not understanding, she says it's not right for a gentleman to complain like that. The pair notices that there are several people gathered just ahead. Jong-hyun wonders why they are standing at the entrance. It should be time to board. In the middle of the crowd, a woman argues with a crew member, saying they were deceived because they can only board the next day. The staff member tries to calm her down, apologizing and stating that they will accommodate everyone later, but they can go to the ship's store. This makes the MC realize that the prize Jong-hyun won was just a scheme to get people to spend money at the ship's store. The girl becomes apprehensive, wondering what they should do now. Then something else catches her attention. After entering the cruise store, she found a bunch of branded items on sale and wants to buy them all. Watching her, the MC thinks that women shopping are scary, but Shin also has his attention caught by something. In his case, it's a beautiful model shoe. Unable to take his eyes off the model, he wonders if he should buy it. A while later, Jong-hyun throws herself on the bed exhausted. They were only able to check into the hotel after dark. At least the hotel bed is comfortable, but since there's only one bed, the MC wonders where he could sleep. The girl shows him he should stay in the bed too, but he refuses, saying it's not that simple. Besides, he has someone he likes, so he won't sleep in the same place as other girls. The MC's statements leave Jong-hyun in shock. She had never heard Shin talk like that and is curious about who the girl might be, but the MC says she doesn't know her. Therefore, she asks if it could be one of the girls he summons. Just by the MC's expression, she understands it's one of those girls and wants to know what she originally was. Despite feeling a bit uncomfortable, Shin reveals that she was his smartphone. Jong-hyun concludes that this must be because nerds and smartphones are some kind of perfect combination. Excited, she asks Shin to transform the girl and show her. This is not something the MC expected, and he's at a loss about what to do. But soon a magic circle appears, and the cute Yuzora appears. Jong-hyun's eyes shine when she sees the girl that came out of the magic circle. She takes the girl's hand, saying she must be Shin's girlfriend, and introduces herself, telling that she is a good friend of the MC. Yuzora introduces herself a little shyly. Then Jong-hyun hugs her with a smile, saying that the girl will sleep with her that night. Guys, the video is over. I just wanted to ask for your attention real quick. For those who aren't subscribed, please subscribe and leave a like. It helps a lot. 87% of the audience isn't subscribed, so if you want to help, please subscribe.